For our second video, we're going to go over some of our examples. So we're going to look at how to solve these systems, so how to determine where they're exactly the same without even graphing. Okay, so in this case, we're going to determine the number of solutions for each system and describe the system as consistent or inconsistent. Now, if we look at our two equations, we have y equals 3x minus 1, and we have y equals 3x plus 8. Now, in both cases there, we have the same slope, but a different y-intercept. We have 3 as our slope. One of them we have -1 as a y-intercept. One of them we have +8 as a y-intercept. So these ones are going to be parallel lines. Now, if these are parallel lines, remember we need to determine the number of solutions for each system. So how many points are these going to intersect at, or are they going to intersect at all? And in this case, they are not. There are 0 solutions, 0 spots where they are going to intersect. So it's called an inconsistent system. So 0 solutions, and it is inconsistent. Looking down at our next example, we've got y equals -1/2 x plus 5, and x plus 2y equals -10. Now it's going to be hard to get the slope of our second equation down here if we keep it in that form. So first, we're going to switch it over to our y equals mx plus b, or our slope-intercept form. So the first thing we need to do is subtract x from both sides. That's going to leave us with positive 2y equals -x plus 10. Again, we just subtracted x off of both sides, so we moved it over here. So we don't need this version anymore. Now we still don't have y equals mx plus b. Okay, we have something in front of our y, so we need to divide both sides by 2, and that'll give us y equals -1/2 x plus 5, because we divided everything by 2. So we can get rid of that version too. Okay, so now we have, again, still our two equations. We have y equals -1/2 x plus 5, and y equals -1/2 x plus 5. Now if we look at those have the same exact slope, -1/2, and they have the same y-intercept, +5. So in this case, these are going to be the same exact line. They're going to lie right on top of each other. So how many solutions are they if they're the same line? Well, there's an infinite amount of solutions. Every single point is going to be shared between the two of them. They both have every single point the exact same. So in this case, it would be a consistent solution. An infinite amount of solutions, and it is consistent because it has at least one solution. Okay, moving on to solving with graphing. So in this case, we are going to graph these ones. We can see we have two equations, y equals -3/4 x minus 1, and y equals 1/2 x plus 4. For our first one, let's graph it using red. Looking at our y-intercept, we go down 1 is going to be our first spot, or our y-intercept. And on yours, you might not have a very clear grid. Go ahead and just kind of make tick marks or tally marks along the side here to help you see where you're at. That's fine. But that's going to be our y-intercept. And using our slope, this -3/4, we know that we're going down 3, right 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be another spot. Now, if we go in the opposite direction, that means we're also going to be going up 3 and left 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be another spot. Now, again, we can just connect this line. That's going to be the graph of our first equation. Now, let's look at the second one in blue. We know that we have a y-intercept of +4, so we go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's our y-intercept. And because of our slope, 1/2, means we're going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. If we kind of continue down the other direction, that'd be going down 1, left 2, down 1, left 2, down 1, left 2, and we just connect the dots, make our line there. So now we've graphed our two lines, and we can see they hit each other right here. Okay, and this spot, we're going to be at -4, +2. So our solution for this system of equations is -4, 2. Okay, in both cases, if I plug -4 in for x, 2 is going to come out as my y value. Okay, it's the only spot where they are the exact same values. Okay, so that's how you would solve by graphing. Let's look at another one. In this case, you're going to do the same exact thing, solve by graphing, but our two equations, again, aren't given as y equals mx plus b. They're going to be a little bit harder to graph. So before we do anything else, let's change them into a slope-intercept form, make it nice and easy for us to graph them. So in each case, we have x minus 4y equals 16 and x minus 4y equals 4. First step for either of them would just be to subtract off that x from both sides. Okay, if we subtract x from both sides, then this top one, the red one, is going to become -4y minus, or equals, -x plus 16. And the bottom one, this blue one here, is going to become -4y equals -x plus 4. Okay, again, in either case, the left side is the exact same, and we're trying to get y alone. So in both cases, we're just dividing by -4. When you divide by -4, for our red one, that'll be y equals 1/4 x minus 4. Again, we divided by a negative, so this positive value had to become negative. For our blue line, that becomes y equals 1/4 x minus 1. Again, we divided by a negative, so this one has to become negative. Our first term has to become positive. So if we want to graph our blue line, okay, again, if you need to make some extra dashes on yours, help you see it better, that's all right. For our blue line, we go down to -1 as our y-intercept. Okay, from there, we know that using our slope, we're going up 1 over 4. So that's going to be our other point for us to use. If we want to go in the opposite direction, we're going down 1 and left 4. So that would be our other point. Again, we can just kind of connect these as we make our graph. For our red line, we're going to be going down to -4 as our y-intercept. And again, we're going up 1 over 4. And going in the opposite direction, we'd be going down 1 and left 4. And connect our dots. Now, just by looking at our graphs, we can already sort of tell, looks like these are never going to hit each other. If this continues on in that direction, and that one in that direction, same thing with the blue line, they are never going to hit each other. Okay? In this case, we would say that it's an inconsistent graph because our lines are parallel. And a nice easy way to check that is our slopes are both 1/4. So we have the same slope, so that makes a parallel line, which means it is an inconsistent system. So there are no solutions in this case.